Margaret Kuhlman of Soul Astrology. To have a new moon in Libra right on the same degree as Mars feels like a contradiction in terms, but of course everything can go together. Libra is about harmony, balance, finding the balance through diplomacy, oil on troubled waters, listening to all sides, coming to an appropriate solution. And the moon over the sun is like the stamp on the next month in terms of quality of energy. So this stamp is on Mars in Libra. Mars in the personality expresses through the solar plexus, so very easily ego-driven. I see it as representing the motives that drive us, that lead us forward. In Libra then, the motive is to keep the peace. But Mars has a way of doing things fast and with force. And of course we know that you can't keep the peace with force. It can only be done by peaceful means. Mars is not particularly about diplomacy. In a way, action doesn't have that kind of expression. It can do, but in this chart, Mercury also in Libra is retrograde, and it will be retrograde until the middle of October. So our ideas and communication, we're looking back. It's like seeing how things have come about, looking at what you've got, and hopefully discovering how that happened so that one doesn't have to do it again. The situation, though, that we're facing is where an almighty change is coming about. We can't see the future, we don't know how to bring it about. So the backward looking of Mercury, as it trines Jupiter, who is also retrograde, is almost like an explosion of ideas as to why things have come about. The truth will be known, sort of thing. Truth revealed. Although it perhaps tends to look a bit more like lots of people coming out with their different ideas and hobby horses. And with Mars on the new moon, there may not be much agreement about any of it. However, it is definitely growthful to have the ideas on show. It's like opening the bag, throwing all the balls in the air, and then watching how they come down, what they consist of, which ones dissolve in mid-air, and which land with a clear thump, reverberating their truth through our lives. The Sun and Moon are opposite Chiron, who's still in Aries, the wounding of the idea of individual. And of course Mars rules Aries, so this time could be for the individual to have their say, to be heard. And at the same time, the Sun, Moon and Mars are all exactly quincunxing Uranus. A statement that dividing people weakens communication, weakens relationship. Perhaps it's people recognizing that they have been cut off from those people they need in their lives. Venus, who rules Taurus, where Uranus sits, is on the south node, but still in the last degree of Scorpio. There is one day, the new moon day itself, the 6th of October, perhaps into the 7th, where this chart is suggesting that we are dealing with the depths of our relationships, that all that has happened, especially during the last month, will have made our deeper needs for connection more apparent to us. And also made it clear what we can and can't manage in relationship, what is relevant to each individual. We each individually decide where our boundaries are, what we can and can't manage. And so it should be. And it determines who we relate to and how. The love then is coming from a very deep place, potentially vulnerable, but when expressed, very powerful, bringing about an aspect of this transformation that's happening. Pluto rules Scorpio. But it's only the last day of Venus being in Scorpio. She then goes into Sagittarius for the next month, which is such fun. Where we've come from, it's the bigger picture, it's sharing all that bigger picture. It's groups of people actually gathering together, not with any essential idea as to doing anything particularly, but just being together, inspiring each other, each with their own viewpoint, which adds to the whole. And with Mercury ruling the North Node in Gemini, that retrogradeness of the Mercury and Jupiter, mirrored there by all the outer planets being retrograde, while the inner planets are bunched together, showing us the sense of our individual personalities, our characters, the people that we feel ourselves to be, facing the great hugeness of life out there, until we reach the period around the full moon. The full moon's on the 20th of October, but Jupiter and then Mercury go direct, no longer retrograde, on the 17th and 18th of October. So by the full moon, there they are going forward. Mercury by then is trining Saturn, as though some decisions have been made or are about to be made. Decisions as to what is necessary, good Aquarian principles being talked and experienced. And Mars and the Sun have moved up to trine the Jupiter. So it's the energy, so much more energy for acting out whatever ideas have been brought to the surface. The thing about this acting out is that the moon opposite the Sun, obviously, is in Mars's sign of Aries, and both ends of his opposition are square to Pluto. So it looks a little like the match in the gunpowder keg. Probably not that dramatic, but maybe. With Mercury holding Saturn's hand and looking across at Chiron, Chiron still being trined by Venus there, it's as though we take care of other people, and in that taking care of others, the explosions are not so devastating. With all that is being said and coming out into the open, it's quite possible that restrictions planned are softened. The fact of it is that I have no idea what will happen, and the charts don't tell me. I always consider that astrology shows the energy of the time, possibilities and windows of opportunity, restrictive times and so on. And they do give a beautiful reflection of a character and a life as it unfolds. But in terms of world events, the events unroll. The purpose of the events might show up. My feeling is that the purpose of the events for humanity at this time are to help us open up towards greater expanses of vision. As though the earth was one mountain that we climb and climb again and again and try to get comfortable on. But there are mountain ranges beyond the earth, and they're not just out there as physical planets or stars. That's still earth. It's still material. There are mountain ranges beyond in consciousness, explorations which humanity could do, and individual humans have been doing forever, probably. But this is like an opportunity to open up, not just to the truth of the physical level, but to the truth of the other levels and how they interact. So it's part of humanity's evolution, evolving into more of what the human being can be. A very slow process, evolution. But it's as though we have held ourselves back from it by being too concerned with the physical comfort. The physical is a manifestation of the energy. We've been told often enough, you become what you believe, or what you believe will happen to you. You reap what you sow. As above, so below. We've heard all these things, but the actual meaning doesn't settle into our everyday lives very well. And so meditation, mindfulness, focus on your breathing, all these things are bringing us to that awareness. As we come into that awareness, the body itself changes, its needs change, our activities change. And again, who knows how that will happen? What I think is important is that we know this is a positive, beautiful evolution. It's high time it came about. So we let it happen, we allow things to be as they are. We allow the people we know to be the people they are, and not just the people we think they are or expect them to be. Everything is a puzzle, so we need to be open-minded to find the pieces of the puzzle as they reveal themselves. The evolution is happening. It's good. And aligning ourselves with that functioning, we can do inwardly, giving time to breathe with peacefulness, innerly, letting all that we know or don't know on the outside drift away just far enough to give us space, so that we sit within a globe of our own peacefulness and experience how light and life and beauty pour into our space. The mind is more active than is useful, and yet it is a fabulous tool of holding focus. It's like a torch All we need to learn to do is to switch on the beam. But we tend to wave it around like a weapon or a defense. There needs to be stillness inside. And when we switch the torch on, the beam strangely shines from beyond us into the torch. We are buoyed up by the other levels, the spiritual levels, the guidance levels, the angelic realms. We are buoyed up by life itself. We just have to be prepared to flick that switch, the mental switch, toward positive flowering. Thank you. I email my new moon letter to all those who ask for it, giving me their email address. And at the end of the letter this month, I've got a meditation, little suggestions as to how to ponder on our relationships, to bring them from the past into the present, because we are changing fast through circumstances. And it's a great time for updating your connections. It's also on my website at the bottom of the letter. Big heart, open and smile. Life is beautiful, and you have eyes to see. There is more within your hands than you have used. Move them and feel your inner power. Open and grow. Unfold your capacity. Life is waiting on your effort and will breathe on creation in any form. Stars and butterflies, released from heart and mind, will spread and enlighten the darkest hour.